In my last article, I discussed one of my training experiences with Arnold S. My intention was to give a glimpse of his training methods by writing just the one article as an example. Now I have come to the conclusion that one article is insufficient to give a full understanding of the man and his methods. Previously, I discussed the triceps and deltoid routine, which we used during my stay with him in America. So now I am frequently being asked, how did he train his other body parts? What exercises does he use? What methods does he use for this and that? So herewith, for the pages of Peak, is the continued saga of the Samson Schwarzenegger. We used to train 2 body parts per night, doing 2 sessions of each workout per week, making 6 workouts each week in all. Workouts were grouped thus: triceps with deltoids, legs with chest, and back with biceps. Having covered triceps and deltoids in the earlier article, I shall continue here with the legs and chest schedule, keeping the lats and lumps one for my final episode on Arnold. I hope my personal view of the Schwarzenegger system proves useful, beneficial, and interesting reading to Peak readers. Everywhere I go, the one name that every bodybuilder has foremost in his mind and on the tip of the tongue is Schwarzenegger. Having lived and trained with him makes me a subject for interrogation, but boy suits me. I'm on Easy Street because as my friend, my idol, and my inspiration and benefactor, there is no one to whom I'd rather give thanks, appreciation, and acclaim. To see Arnold prepare for a workout is like watching a fellow rushing to catch a plane to the Bahamas. Anyone would think he was off on journey into paradise. He rushes around grabbing sweatshirts, drinking protein, and talking on the phone to one of his many friends. Now the last item may seem a little hard to believe, but I can reveal to you that Arnold's pet hobby after women is phoning. London, Munich, New York, South Africa, you name it, he phones it. When they lay the first cables on the moon, I'll lay bets he's the first caller to get the green cheese eaters. When he finally dragged himself away from the wondrous talking bone, as Cat Weasel would say, he pursued his hectic preparations, finally grabbing his training belt and bounding out of the apartment with me in tow. No such thing as hanging around when you step in the gym with Arnold. As this was chest night, we went over to the flat bench and plunged headlong into a session of physiological pumping. The first exercise on the agenda was Arnold's pet one, the bench press, to which Arnold attributes his fantastic pec development, and since witnessing the way his pecs pumped up during the performance of the exercise, I would endorse the claim. Arnold uses a medium width grip. To judge this correctly, the forearm should be vertical, making a perfect right angle to the bar when it is midway between lockout and touching the chest. The first set was of 20 reps, using a light weight to warm up the pecs, then one of 17, one of 15, 12, and 10, increasing the weight considerably each and every set. These high rep sets were done in half rep style, pressing the bar from the chest to halfway very fast, thus performing a rapid pump and bulking of the pecs. After the half reps, he again stepped up the weight on the bar and knocked out 8 full reps. From then on, he employed full reps and continued bench pressing until he felt we had done enough. One important fact to remember is that on each and every set, he would increase the weight but still strive for 8 reps. Some nights we would do as many as 12 sets, while others only 8, depending on how he was responding to the exercise. Needless to say, you can guess which number we did most, due to the fact that Arnold always responds to exercise. I swear that if he so much as thought of bodybuilding, he would gain. After the bench press, we proceeded to terrorize our pecs into growth by means of the incline press performed on a special pressing machine. The muscle action was so severe on the machine that at times I thought my pecs would rip away from the sternum. He used this kind of incline bench that you stand on instead of a seated kind to cut down the amount of back arching that usually occurs when the exercise is in progress. The bar was lowered right into the throat to achieve maximum stretch at the topmost part of the pecs, and on lockout the pecs were cramped as hard as possible. Always Arnold puts emphasis on these cramping movements for achieving hardness and definition. At the beginning of the last rep of each set, Arnold would bounce the bar 2 or 3 times before pressing to give the pecs that little extra work. To Arnold, that bit of extra work, that bit of extra pain were like ambrosia. He thrived on it, never happy unless he ached like mad after each set. After enduring the assault on the upper pec, I was calmly informed that we hadn't yet finished. After having done a total of 18 to 20 sets and less time than it takes to read a half of Peak magazine. Nevertheless, off we set once more on the assault course. Now you may say to yourself that the aforementioned number of sets isn't such a marathon and that you've worked more yourselves and not complained, but my friends, never with the Oaks pace and style you haven't, and I live to tell the tale. Next on the list of delights came the lying flies and parallel bar dips, supersetted. As before, Arnold performed the flies with exaggerated stretching and cramping movements, lowering the dumbbells right to the floor if possible, and really squeezing them together at the top. Without rest at all, he then gave the parallel bars a battering by doing half-rep dips, dipping as low as possible without dislocating a shoulder, then pressing out to slightly over halfway. The idea of this is to put the stress solely on the pecs. When the halfway point is passed, the arms and deltoids take the workload. Therefore, it is useless to continue pressing upwards after the point of maximum stress has been reached, for it is only energy redirected away from the pecs. By the time we had completed the pec workout and we had done upwards of 30 sets, some nights we would only do around 22 sets, for Arnold never counted sets, but just kept going on each exercise until he had satisfied his appetite for them, but I kept check. Oh boy, did I keep count. On completion of that half of the schedule, Arnold decided to have a breather for tackling the be-all, end-all of bodybuilding, leg work. I say the be-all and end-all because it is the be-all for stimulating body growth and the end-all as far as many fellows' inspirations towards hard work goes. It is surprising how many budding Mr. Universe's dreams of glory fall by the wayside when it comes down to the hard grind of leg workouts. Not so with Arnold. At the mention of squats, etc., he seems to develop a sadistic streak and wishes to beat them into submission, as the fantastic rate of development of his underpinnings attest to. Arnold's number one thigh exercise is the front squat, which he supersets with the leg press to great effect. He performs the front squat in basically the same way as normal, except he stands with his feet pretty wide apart and toes pointing outwards to work the extreme outside of the thigh, producing the riding pants effect, which enhances his thigh development. Also, he tenses his thighs very hard at the completion of each squat to produce the deep splits between the 3 major thigh muscles that every trainee strives for. Quicker than you can say Wag Bennett, he would dash from the squat stand to the leg press machine and start pumping away, knocking out 12 to 15 very fast reps, lowering the weight until his knees were very nearly touching the floor alongside his body. He was always adamant that the weight should be lowered as far as possible to promote full development of the thighs and to attack the thigh biceps in preparation for the thigh curls to come. As with the chest work, he never counted the sets. He stopped when he felt that enough was enough, for him that is. My thighs used to be so pumped at the end of the squats and leg presses that my legs dithered when I walked, and to even consider doing more work seemed an impossibility. But Arnold's enthusiasm and energy rubbed off on me somehow, and I would do my level best to stick with it. This was one of the amazing things about him. Whilst I was gritting my teeth at the energy-sapping work, he seemed to have unlimited energy and cruised through the workouts night after night without any slackening in pace. Never at any time have I seen anyone train as hard as Big A. Yet he once said that Sergio, he trains like mad, so very fast. I guess that if Arnold says someone trains fast, that he means fast, like Jet Set Man. The mountain that walks was obviously enjoying himself by now, and started to load plates on the thigh curl machine with great relish. I thought to myself, what's he trying to do, make me or break me? Thankfully, there was a reduction in weight before I started playing footsie with that. To have attempted to use Arnold's poundage would have resulted in my having knee at the back of my leg instead of the front. I hadn't done many reps before I was reprimanded forcefully for executing the exercise wrongly, and I ask you, who argues with the oak? Apparently, I was lying flat on the bench instead of holding myself at an angle by straightening my arms and grasping the surface of the bench. The latter method proved to be most effective, I found, for tension was still on the thigh biceps even at the top of the curl and resulted in a much better contraction of the bicep muscles. We did around 6 to 8 sets of these, supersetted with calf raises on a machine, evidently to give a further stretch to the leg biceps whilst calf raising and to tire the calves whilst thigh curling. These two exercises done together are very effective, giving a severe cramping and pumping when done in conjunction with each other, superset style. After about 8 sets of this kind of work, my calves and leg biceps were screaming out for help. The muscle ache being so severe, we continued the bombing and blitzing. Who was it who coined that phrase? By hammering away at the donkey calf raise, and believe me, when you've got someone as big as Arnold on your back, you'd swap for a donkey any day. All in all, and I was all in, we did around 20 sets of calf raises before he said, "That is it. We have done now." The relief of those magic words nearly unhinged me. Maybe it did, for I've been crackers enough to train that way ever since. After a Schwarzenegger workout, you are tired, but boy oh boy, you gain real quick. Training with Arnold is rather like banging your head against a wall. It's nice when you stop. Never on any occasion did he reduce his pace for me. I was expected to keep up and shut up, which was the best gift that he could have given me. He taught me how to train and gain, how to like it and lump it, the results of which I was able to display at the 70 Universe. I don't think I've ever been in such good condition in my life. This was the best shape, size, condition, and was due to the application of Arnold's methods and training wisdom. So, young man, if you want to gain, do as he does, train fast, furious, and feel it.